man with a wife and kids.
3 of them, 2 boys and a girl.
A good man.
A man worth a lot.
Not some deadbeat.
Not some homeless dude.
Some drunk.
Some useless junkie.
Not someone old.
A good man. A really good man.
A man worth a lot.
A man with a job.
A good job. With responsibilities.
Someone important.
Dead. Just like that.
Suddenly
Dead. An innocent bystander.
A total stranger.
His only crime is he wants to help.
To save
Lolita.
To do the right thing.
He didn't even know her.
To offer a hand.
To save Lolita.
He put his life at risk.
Didn't hesitate.
To save Lolita.
A brave man.
Admirable.
Selfless.
A hero.
Dead.
A dead man.
Definitely a dead man.
I like it this fast. I like it that if I fell, I'd die. I like the sound of my breath. Like the ache in my legs, like the way the wind mats up my hair, like the sweat on my face and the cold air, like the whirring of the wheels, the clicking of the gears, the sound in my ears. I like the smell of me. I like the feeling of my heartbeat. I like it that I can't think. If I think, I'll fall. I'll pedal into a hole. If I think I'll fall into a ditch, I'll smack into the back of a truck, wrap myself around a pole. Oh, it's lovely not thinking, not caring, having one problem, staying on my bike. Lovely life. Lovely, lovely life. That's what you say on a bike. That's what I said, I reckon. Until the day I stopped and didn't ride my bike anymore. I was 9. We've known Lolita for a long time.
We've known her since we were kids.
We went to the same daycare.
I live next door.
We went to the same primary school.
She was my best friend.
We know her through and through.
We know everything there is to know about her.
We know Lolita better than anyone.
We were that close.
When we were babies, Lolita and I got our pictures taken together at Kmart.
When we were 1, we painted each other blue.
When we were 2, Lolita and I went missing. We were found 2 hours later in a daycare cupboard sleeping.
When we were 3, we put in the same crib because I had the measles and she didn't, and she thought that her mom thought that she should.
When we were 4, Lolita and I held hands and tiptoed to the deep end of the North Coast pool. And as the water was about to cover our noses, a lifeguard dived in and saved us.
When we were 5, Lolita and I drank a bottle of medicine and had our stomachs pumped.
When we were 6, Lolita and I danced in fairy dresses at the Sunday school pageant.
When we were 7, Lolita and I buried her brother's pet guinea pig alive. His name was Kevin.
When we were 8, we smoked one of my dad's cigarettes and got sick.
Everything changed when Lolita was 9.
It happened really fast.
It was very sudden.
There was nothing to be done, no turning back.
These things just happened.
It wasn't Lolita's fault.
It was after the holidays.
The Christmas ones.
And the start of grade 4.
We came back to school.
As usual.
And Lolita
Had
tits.
breasts.
real breasts.
Huge ones.
At first I thought it was a joke she was having on us.
That she had a padded bra on.
Because nothing else had changed.
She was a little girl with tits.
Her breasts were frightening.
They were.
My mother said it was unnatural.
A little girl with tits.
It was kind of ridiculous.
Boys went into frenzy.
They almost licked their lips.
Look, Lolita's got tits.
They were mesmerized by them.
I was mesmerized by them.
They couldn't take their eyes off them.
I couldn't take my eyes off them.
They were beautiful.
They were.
They'd comment on them.
They'd almost talk to them.
Sometimes they'd grab at them. And Lolita let them.
And something else had changed.
Lolita had been smart. Really smart.
Like at math smart.
She always got the top mark.
And she could spell.
She was top of the class.
She read chapter books before any of us.
She got dumb.
Not all at once.
Gradually.
In the same year.
So dumb it was easy to forget she'd been smart.
Dumb.
Even I got better marks.
Failing at math, which she'd never done.
You wondered if she'd never been smart.
Or her smartness had run out.
Couldn't do her sums.
Couldn't read out loud.
Didn't know the answers.
Didn't seem to care.
Maybe she was faking it.
For a while, I think she was.
Well, then she really was.
She was.
Dumb.
In grade 5, we had Mr. Markham.
He was young for a teacher.
And he loved Lolita.
He did.
She was teacher's pet. He stared at her all the
He
time.
smiled at her.
He'd hold her hand every chance he got.
He squeezed her.
He'd whisper in her ear.
He teased her.
He gave her sweets.
Sometimes he would show off in front of her.
He'd laugh and tell jokes to her.
He'd lean over her desk and help her with her sums, and sweat would mysteriously appear on his upper lip.
Once, he lifted Barry Danson by the arm and held him dangling.
And Barry had teased Lolita.
He called Barry a dirty little rat and dropped him outside in the corridor like that.
Mr. Markham loved Lolita.
We'd witnessed how the boys had reacted.
But this was something different.
This was a grown
A
man.
teacher.
We watched as he became besotted with Lolita.
By then, we'd all experienced being looked at.
For too long.
Too intensely.
By some men who passed by in the street.
By a girlfriend's father.
By a grandfather.
We'd all by then experienced the touch.
From an old friend of your father who hugged a little too close.
From someone at church who would hold your hand and rub your palm with his thumb.
From an uncle that would put his arm around you and place his fingertips on the side of your breast.
From a shopkeeper who'd hold on to your fingers when he gives you your change.
We'd all by then experienced a kiss from an adult that was way too wet.
A tongue that just slips between your lips.
We'd all by then experienced the confusion of how it feels.
The attention. How strange it is.
Is this being liked?
Is this meant to be nice?
Lolita and Mr. Markham were teaching us a far more sophisticated lesson.
We learned a lot.
We learned something we'd never known.
Though it was quite mystifying at the time.
It was.
It was no easy lesson.
It was hard to know quite what was going on.
Lolita seemed to be the only one who knew.
And Mr. Markham. Yeah, he definitely knew.
They were a great study.
They were.
Fascinating.
Lolita in particular, we observed.
She never flinched when Mr. Markham touched her. Whatever look he gave her, she returned. She smiled back.
She'd laugh loudly, exuberantly.
Lolita talked back.
She'd whisper too.
She'd pout sometimes.
It was truly amazing to watch her.
I was jealous of her often.
I was too.
Lolita somehow knew exactly what to do.
Not once did I row the boat. At first, I thought it was because I was too young, until my younger brother was handed the oars. I thought it must have been because I was too weak, but my younger brother was smaller than me. I thought it was because I had never asked, but nor had my younger brother ever asked. In fact, I could tell he didn't really want to. He was happy to spend the time drawing a line in the water with his hand. I didn't really want to row the boat either. Not until my younger brother was handed the oars did I want to. I could see myself. I knew I'd be good at it. I knew I would make perfect, balanced, easy strokes that would have the boat slide across the surface of the water. Well, this was something I could do. See myself at various tasks and know that I would be good at them. I could see myself chop wood, for instance. I knew I could get into the rhythm of splitting the wood with one swing. I could see myself abseiling down a cliff. I knew I would find my footing, be able to coordinate the ropes and bound down the face of it. Oh, I could see myself doing lots of things. Climbing, running, skidding, swimming, jumping over things. Rarely was I given the opportunity to use my strength, to test my power, to exert myself. Rarely have I ever run out of breath. Rarely was I called outside to push our busted car, or to climb the tree to get the cat, or to mow, or dig, or to even put the bin out. I don't know whether I wanted to be asked to do these things. I don't think I did. One day, I got up and found that my dad and brothers had gone fishing without me. I don't remember Dad telling me I was no longer invited, nor do I remember telling him I no longer wanted to go. It didn't particularly upset me. Perhaps he thought I didn't want to. Perhaps I didn't. Perhaps I thought I was too old. I was 12.
Lolita took middle school by storm.
We got swept along. She led us down the corridors like miniature warriors.
She was full of sudden high-pitched screams, shrieks, and ear-splitting squeals.
One moment she would laugh almost hysterically,
And then she'd laugh with loud, mad guffaws.
She'd giggle and not be able to stop.
And be put outside the principal's door.
and laugh and laugh and laugh some more.
And we'd join her.
Oh, it was over the top.
It was hilarious.
It was contagious.
It was crazy. It was totally meaningless.
It was fun.
It was. He was hilarious.
Lolita drew laughter from almost anyone.
And she drew attention.
Lolita was known by the entire school.
Everyone was drawn to her.
Boys in particular.
They loved her.
They did.
Boys of all sizes.
Some not grown yet.
Some with beards.
They waited for her after class.
They'd pass her notes.
They'd beg her to meet them after school.
They declared their love for her on every blackboard.
One wrote, "I love Lolita" on one of the school's walls.
She received fat love letters in the mail.
One of them was willing to die for her. He was that serious.
She met them on the field,
At the bus stop,
at the 7-Eleven,
at lunchtime,
after school.
They'd walk her home
they would constantly ring her.
and text her.
They'd wait for her outside her house and the chance they might get to see her.
There was barely a moment when she wasn't being pursued.
They loved her.
They did.
Sometimes I was jealous.
So was I.
Because we also loved Lolita.
Lolita introduced us to feminine ways.
Lolita was the first to pluck her eyebrows. She plucked them thin and aligned, which gave her face a constant look of surprise.
She was the first to shave her legs.
She never wore any socks or stockings, so her legs were completely shining bare.
Lolita was the first to wear makeup. Her face was almost orange at times, and it stopped sharply along her jawline.
She was constantly repainting her lips.
Her lashes were thick.
She was the first to pierce her tongue. I wasn't even allowed to get my ears done.
She dyed her hair all colors.
She liked regrowth. She thought it made her look older.
She was the first to smoke cigarettes.
She liked the look of a cigarette in her hand, she said.
She was the first to smoke a joint.
She liked how it made her light in the head.
She was the first to get drunk.
She sat in the gutter and vomited all over her brand new dress.
She was the first to shave her pubic hair.
She hated hair down there.
So do I.
It's gross.
She said men preferred if we looked like little girls.
She was the first to give head.
She just closed her eyes, she said.
She was the first to have sex. She chose carefully.
She could have her pick.
She chose a boy in year 12.
We liked his name.
Andreas! We all agreed on him.
He was nearly a man.
He had a reputation.
For breaking hearts.
And Hyman,
We agreed he was definitely the one.
He'd know what he was doing, she thought.
he had practice.
And he was handsome.
He was.
We were very excited. She arranged everything.
It was like she was making a doctor's appointment. The date, the time, the place.
It was all confirmed.
And we waited.
We were beside ourselves.
It was exhilarating, the waiting. It was painful.
We waited.
To hear every detail,
To be taken through it step by step.
to relish in every shocking moment.
We knew it would be delicious.
Lolita finally came. And we danced around her.
We were in some weird ritual. We screamed and laughed like crazy and she tried to speak. We wanted to know. We wanted to draw it out. The pleasure and the anticipation. We wanted her to tell. Perhaps we sensed the disappointment.
When we were finally silent, Lolita had little to say.
It was okay.
It's what she said.
It was nothing much.
You were kind of sad.
It was suddenly awkward.
Suddenly silent.
Lolita suddenly looked her age.
She was 12.
Our disappointment was short-lived.
Lolita made up for it for sure.
She was a champion.
A rebel.
A star!
Her sexual exploits were numerous.
They were famous.
Stories of them delighted us.
Her life was so full, it filled ours. We loved her life.
We envied her
We
freedom.
were in awe of her power.
She'd strut.
She'd stick her tits out.
She'd hold her head up. She was unafraid.
Well, Lolita was the most amazing slut.
She was.
And we loved her.
She was never ashamed of anything she did.
Shame was something Lolita did not believe in.
She was lucky.
She was.
Lolita did not have any secrets.
Nothing.
She shared everything.
Nothing kept in. All of us.
And everyone else?
Knew everything. Lolita and I stayed with my grandmother in the country during the Christmas holidays. I'd invited Lolita a few months earlier and now I was dreading it. My grandmother was old, her house was nowhere near a town. She didn't have a television and there was nothing, absolutely nothing to do. On the train I warned Lolita. I told her, you can go whenever you want to, you know? You might want to go home, you might only want to stay a few days. When you've had enough, just say so. For 3 weeks, Lolita and I swam in my grandma's dam. Every day we'd pick leeches off each other before we swam again. One day we took off our swimsuits and baked and covered each other completely in mud. We baked dry and when we moved, we cracked. Lolita said we were coming out of our shells. Born again. Anew. Every day we'd look for lizards and one day we found a snake and scrammed. We sat on warm rocks and sang bits of songs. We helped my grandma in the garden with cooking, with feeding the animals. At night we played Scrabble and pieced together old jigsaw puzzles. We listened to music, we listened to the radio, we listened to my grandma's stories, and finally we came home. We were 14. Year 9!
The year of the bitch.
We ran in packs, snarling, teeth bared, looking for a kill. A fat girl. A girl who thinks her shit doesn't stink.
A girl with no dress
A
sense.
girl who's always top of class.
A girl with bad skin.
A pretty girl.
They didn't have a chance in hell.
They would change constantly. Turn on one of their own.
Tear her limb from limb.
We'd split and reform and split again.
We'd devour each other one day.
And the next day declare each other best friends.
Every day there were tears.
Someone hysterically sobbing.
Every day a girl would get clobbered.
You told her, and she told me, and now you're dead meat.
We talked behind each other's backs.
Every day we'd confess.
To some crime against the other.
We'd declare love for one another. We'd tell each other we were shit.
You were such a bitch.
You were a liar.
You couldn't be trusted.
You tell everyone secrets.
You told her I thought she was shit.
You told her she was a fuckwit. She was what the boys wanted. She thought she could have them all.
She was too much.
Lolita didn't care who she fucked.
Her boyfriend?
Or hers.
Or hers?
Or mine. Once I told her, keep your hands off him, would you? He's taken.
All that did was excite her.
That night she took him home with her.
Lolita was insatiable.
She was.
Her appetite was unbelievable.
She was a slut.
But I'll tell you something about Lolita.
What?
What?
She's never had an orgasm.
Of course she has.
No, she hasn't.
She loves fucking.
She does. Lolita's laughter grew irritating.
Her wild giggling was fake.
Her shrieking and screeching, infuriating.
I saw her on a crowded bus, talking at the top of her voice, saying, fuck this, fuck that.
I saw her blowing this dude in the park.
I saw her mauling this guy in the train station.
I saw her with two boys, their hands all over her.
I saw her having sex in the back of a car.
I saw her at a party lift up her top and her tits were falling out of her bra.
I saw her get into the car with 4 grown men who were strangers.
She was outrageous.
She was out of control.
She was shameless.
She had no self-respect.
She was no good. She had no morals.
None.
She had a couple of bouts of STDs.
She did.
She was disgusting.
Over the top.
She was frightening.
She'd done it with almost everyone.
Such a slut.
It was time for us to give Lolita up.
It was.
It took some time to shake her.
No one actually told her.
We let her know gradually.
We never spoke unless we had to.
We stopped waiting for her.
We avoided eye contact with her.
We stopped talking when she approached.
We never laughed at her jokes.
We winced at her squealing.
We were never outwardly mean.
But we were as cruel as we could be.
But it wasn't until the party. Then it was clear.
We let Lolita go completely.
The party is a year 11 one. It's crowded and people are packed in and spill out into the backyard where some unsuspecting parent has hung a marquee from the clothesline.
There's a tacky banner with Happy 16th Birthday Damien written on it with dripping black paint.
The party is pumping. Lolita's already drunk and dancing, as usual, drawing a lot of attention.
Her skirt is written up.
She's taken off her top and thrown it at some guys, and her tits are shaking themselves out of her bra.
Gate crashers come from the local pub and the party's bunching at the side.
Having older men there makes it extra exciting.
They're all standing around watching Lolita.
And she's giving the performance of her life.
Oh, a group of boys are pissed and an argument breaks out.
Someone has drunk another's beer.
The argument turns into a fight.
Someone throws a punch.
A can is thrown at someone's head.
The party scatters in the panic of broken glass and spilled plates of cabana and cheese.
Someone's got a nosebleed.
Someone has a cut over his eye.
Someone has a screaming.
Someone's puking under the lemon tree.
And Lolita has disappeared.
The fight has calmed, but there remains a feeling of unfinished business.
It could start again at any moment.
We try to calm some of the boys down.
Try to patch up some of their wounds.
We try to divert their attention, try to get the party going again.
But their chests are puffed up in outrage.
Their tempers are flaring.
This isn't the time for girls. It's danger time.
Time to disappear.
Time to get out of there.
We look out for each other. We give each other the sign.
We collect our bags. We hid them under some bushes when we arrived.
We make our way through the shattered glass past Damien's torn down birthday sign.
We go inside.
We go quickly through the kitchen.
Where someone's spewing in the sink.
We make our way through the living room, which is strangely empty.
We thread our way along the hall.
And then we realize that something's odd.
A whole lot of men are lined up against the wall,
In a queue.
waiting to go inside the bedroom doors.
And immediately we know what's going on.
Lolita, she's inside.
And the men are lined up for her.
We don't stop. We keep on until we're out the front door, through the garden, and onto the street.
We keep walking. No one is talking.
The sound of Lolita's screams still ring in our ears.
I don't remember a single dream. Not one. I never had one. model or an actress on TV. I will be a princess or a singer or a ballet dancer. I never imagined myself in any situation. Never saw myself in another place or another country or anywhere, really. I didn't imagine anything about myself. I don't think I did much imagining at all. I never imagined any fantasy land or out of space place. I didn't imagine, I just didn't. I didn't know how to. I didn't know that I should or could, or that's what most people do. I don't remember ever wanting something, badly wanting something. I wanted things like a pair of shoes or a lipstick or a slice of pizza. I've never wanted anything more complicated. I can't think of anything to want for. I can only think of silly things, things you buy in a shop. I suppose I want to be liked. I'd like that. I'd like to be liked. That's it. That's all. And I want to want more.
Lolita dropped her.
Tries to save Lolita.
And is shot dead.
Lolita and her boyfriend are out clubbing.
And drinking and dancing and doing cocaine.
And she is wearing something skimpy.
An argument breaks out and the tough man is in a rage.
And Lolita tries to run away.
But he runs after her.
There's always excitement with Lolita.
And this really good man
Tries to save her and is shot.
And Lolita tries to run.
and she too is shot.
It's always going to be wild with Lolita.
In the papers they call her a party girl.
I suppose they can't call her a slut.
She might die. They say she's on her deathbed.
Better.
What?
Better she dies, I reckon. Be hard to live.
Don't know how she could.
She couldn't.
Couldn't face it.
Couldn't live with herself.
Couldn't bear the weight of it.
She'd want to hide away.
To die in shame.
Better we hear nothing more of her.
It is. It is.
Have you heard?
Did you hear about Lolita?
Have you heard about Lolita? Everybody's talking about it.
Have you heard about
Have you
Lolita?
heard
Have you
about
heard?
Lolita?
You haven't heard? He doesn't know about Lolita.
Have you heard? Have you heard about Lolita?
Have you heard about Lolita?
She's not heard about Lolita.
She hasn't heard about Lolita.
She doesn't know about Lolita.
Let me fill you in. Have you heard about Lolita?
And she went out to his farm.
A man is dead.
An innocent man.
With a wife and kids.
A good man.
Tries to save her.
With a job. A really good job.
With responsibilities.
Someone important.
Dead.
Just like that.
Suddenly
Dead. His only crime is he wants to help.
To save Lolita.
To do the right thing.
To save Lolita.
He put his life at risk.
A brave man.
A dead man.
Definitely a dead man. We've known Lolita for a long time.
We've known her since we were kids.
We went to the same daycare.
I lived next door.
We went to the same primary school. She was a little girl with tits.
My mother said it was unnatural.
A little girl with tits.
It was kind of ridiculous.
Boys went into frenzy.
They almost licked her lips.
Look! Lolita's got tits! She was...
Dumb. She was teacher's pet.
She never flinched when Mr. Markham touched her.
Lolita enjoyed Mr. Markham and his attentions.
She was full of sudden high-pitched screams.
Shrieks and ear-splitting squeals.
She'd giggle and not be able to stop.
And be put outside the principal's door.
She'd laugh and laugh and laugh some more.
It was delirious.
It was crazy.
Lolita was known by the entire school.
Boys in particular.
Ooh, they loved her.
They did. Boys of all sizes. They met her on the field,
At the bus stop,
at the 7-Eleven,
at lunchtime,
school.
She never wore any socks or stockings, so her legs were completely shining bare.
Lolita was the first to wear makeup. Her face was almost orange at times, and it stopped sharply along her jawline.
She was constantly repainting her lips. She was the first to pierce her tongue.
She dyed her hair all colors.
Lolita was the first to smoke cigarettes.
She was the first to smoke a joint.
She was the first to get drunk.
She sat in the gutter and vomited all over her brand new dress.
She was the first to shave her pubic hair.
She was the first to give head.
Lolita was the first to have sex.
She was 12.
Lolita's sexual exploits were numerous.
She'd strut.
She'd stick her tits out.
She was never ashamed of anything she did.
She thought she was better than us.
She thought she was so hot.
She honestly thought she was what the boys wanted.
She thought she could have them all.
She was too much.
Lolita didn't care who she fucked.
Her boyfriend?
Or hers.
Or hers.
Or mine.
Lolita was insatiable.
She was.
Her appetite was unbelievable.
She was a slut.
I saw her giving head to some dude in the park.
I saw her mauling this guy at the train station.
I saw her with 2 boys, their hands all over her.
I saw her at a party take her top off and her tits were shaking themselves out of her bra.
She was outrageous.
She was out of control.
She was shameless.
She had no self-respect.
She was no good.
She had no morals.
She had a couple of bouts of STDs.
She did. She was disgusting.
Over the top.
She'd done it with almost everyone.
Such a slut.
Lolita dropped out of school.
No huge surprise.
Not at all.
The trouble with Lolita is she thought she could have it all, but you can't possibly get away with it. You give it up and you're a slut. We're not the same as Lolita.
We're not.
No way.
It was always going to be wild with her.
Always going to be out of control.
She was never going to do what's normal.
Not Lolita.
A good man.
A man with a wife and kids.
Tries to save Lolita and is shot dead.
And she too is shot.
In the papers they call her a party girl.
I suppose they can't call her a slut.
She might die.
Better she dies, I reckon.
What?
Better to hear nothing more of her.
It is.
Have
Have you heard?
You haven't heard about Lolita?
Have you heard about Lolita?
Have you heard about Lolita?
He hasn't heard about Lolita.
You haven't heard about Lolita?
Oh my god,
heard
she's
about
such
The man is dead.
An innocent man.
He put his life at risk to save Lolita.
A dead man.
We've known Lolita for a long time.
She was a little girl with tits.
My mother said it was unnatural.
A little girl with tits.
She was
Dumb. She was full of sudden high-pitched screams.
shrieks and ear-splitting squeals. Giggle and not be able to stop
And be put outside the principal's door.
and laugh and laugh and laugh some more.
It was crazy.
Lolita was known by the entire school.
Boys in particular.
They loved her.
She met them on the field.
At the bus stop,
At the
at
7-Eleven,
lunchtimes.
after school.
Lolita was the first to smoke cigarettes.
She was the first to smoke a joint.
She was the first to get drunk.
Lolita was the first to have sex.
She was 12. She thought she was better than us.
She thought she was so hot.
She honestly thought she was what the boys wanted.
She didn't care who she fucked.
Lolita was insatiable.
Her appetite was unbelievable.
She was a slut.
She was shameless.
She had no self-respect.
She was no good.
She had no morals.
None.
The trouble with Lolita is she thought she could have it all.
Such a slut.
She thought she could be the same, but you can't possibly get away with it. You give it up, and you're a slut.
It was always going to be wild with her. Always going to be out of control.
She was never going to do what's normal.
Not Lolita.
We're not the same as Lolita.
We're not.
No way.
She might die.
Better she dies, I reckon.
Better to hear nothing more of her.
It is.